Today, I'm going to show you how to transform the Target Bullseye Playground mini potion bottles into these fun Halloweentown themed potion bottles. The things we'll need to transform our Target mini potion bottles is all of the Target mini potion bottles. However, if you do not have access to those Target mini potion bottles, because I feel like they sold out really fast this year, you could definitely make these with little bottles you get from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, or maybe some that you got at the Dollar Tree, anything like that. So these labels could definitely be used on more than just these bottles, and we're really only using a few of the fillings that are already in these, so you could definitely create your own. Just like all of the past Halloween little mini potion bottles we've made, which I'll put a link to those up above and at the end of the video. And I have a playlist for all of those. You could definitely make any of those potions with any little bottles. It does not have to be these exact ones. But beyond the actual bottles, we're going to use quite a few different things to transform these. So we are going to be using some mica powders. We're going to use rubbing alcohol. We're going to use some corn syrup, some dish soap, some sand. I have several different sealing wax stamps here. I have a whole bunch of different hot glue guns with different sealing wax hot glues. I have assorted cordings here. We've got some creepy cloth, bones, you name it. We have all kinds of different things. We're going to be using a couple rubber corks, and we're just going to transform them. You don't have to use all of these elements. You could use some of these elements. A lot of these things I already had on hand from past projects, and I'm just repurposing them in a different way for this one. And finally, we will need our labels printed on sticker paper, and the link for this is in the description down below. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do with all of these bottles is remove their existing label. Now, I didn't personally love the labels this year. Last year I really liked the labels because they did a nice gold foiling effect and they were pretty intricate and detailed. So last year we just kind of updated what was inside, added some additional outside embellishment, but we kept the original labels. You could definitely keep the original labels on here if you want to, but I just found them to be not my favorite. They're okay. They're just not my favorite. Especially the ones on the iridescent bottles. I really didn't love the design they went with for these. So I felt like they needed to get updated. And when I looked at the theme of these bottles and the toppers of the iridescent ones, I decided that I felt like a Halloweentown theme kind of fit because we already had werewolf fur. This one was a ghost, so I thought, okay, sweat of a ghost, we can work with that. The tops of the other ones I felt like lend themselves to a little bit of a Halloweentown theme. We have the crystal ball, the top hat, and the jack-o'-lantern, and a ghost, and a skull, and I felt like, I think I can work with those. So I decided to take these and give them a Halloweentown theme. Again, I have lots of little mini potion bottle labels, and some of these are exactly the same as ones we've done in the past. So we've already done spider legs. We've already done, not petite pumpkins, but it was enchanted pumpkins, so basically the same thing. So I felt like, okay, rather than give you the same exact potions we've done before, I thought I would update these in a different and fun way. Plus, Halloweentown is super fun, and I feel like it'd be cute even for kids to work with, and I feel like it's very nostalgic. So again, first thing I'm going to do is remove all these labels. We'll come back and then we'll start to transform these. And now that all of our labels are off, we can start to transform. The first one we're going to transform is the Toadstool clippings. So I kept this one Toadstool clippings. I just updated the label to give it the Halloweentown vibe. So I had that it was made by C&CC Apothecary, which is me, Cooking and Craft Chick Apothecary, in Halloweentown. And then this is Toadstool clippings. So I loved the little baby toadstools they have in here, but the way they put them in here, not so great. So if you guys have done some of these mini bottles with me in the past, you know that these little weeding tools that you can get at the Dollar Tree are amazing for getting stuff out of these jars. So I don't know if you can tell, they taped. See if I can. They taped the toadstools together. It just looks really crappy. Plus, you know how I feel about paper squigglies in these bottles. They it just looked cheap. So we're going to change that with some moss. And I'm going to untape the toadstools. I would rather glue them together if I felt like I needed to get them in a certain grouping than to tape them. Okay. Oh, I see why they taped it. So they've got two little ones that are actually one really long double-ended one. So we're just going to cut them. That's fine. But I'm going to get rid of these paper squigglies because I just feel like they cheapen the potion. All right, so now that that is out, I'm going to go ahead and add our moss, and I love this orange moss. I actually picked this up at, I believe I got it at home, of all places. But I know that Michael's and Hobby Lobby also have got lots of different options, and I'll try to link some in the description as well. To push this down a little bit because I want us to be able to see our toadstools. So let's take this apart. All right, so we're going to put this one in first, and I'm going to kind of try to nestle it in some of the moss. And then we're going to cut these apart. Okay, perfect. And when we get these situated the way we want, we can go ahead and cap it up. All right, so we're going to add our label, but first I'm going to go around the outside edge with a black marker. Again, it just gives it a more finished look. All right, we're going to take the backing paper off of this. And then we're going to decide where we want to place it. So I actually think I'm going to place it on this side, so that when we turn it around, we see our cute little toadstools. And I'm thinking that looks pretty straight. Perfect. And then I'm going to just add a little bit of cording. So this one's going to be kind of simple, with just our little toadstools in here and the label with a little bit of wrap. And we're going to wrap this one just like we have hundreds of other ones before, and I'll put a link to my tips and tricks video up above that will teach you how to wrap this if you're not sure. And it'll also explain why I do what I do with most of these potions. Okay, let me cut this. And then we have our toadstool clippings. All right, so the next one is Sweat of a Ghost. And if you'll remember from Halloweentown, this is one of the 3 potion ingredients that's in the witch's brew that they use to defeat Calabar. So I felt like this was a really important one to include. Now, the little ghosty that is in here is very cute. So if you didn't want to do the liquid version we're going to do now, you could definitely use him. We could also put him on the top of the bottle if you wanted to, but I'm going to do a wax seal instead. But you definitely have options. It was very smart of them to tagger lock this little ghost onto the cork so that he pulled out when you pulled it up. Now, because we are going to be changing ours to liquid, we are going to use a number 1 cork because I don't want it to evaporate, which it will with this one. So again, while the little ghost is very, very cute, we are not going to use him. We could have put him on the top, That is an option, but we're going to just do a wax seal on him. So for this one, I thought it would be really appropriate to use this iridescent blue mica powder. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit in there. And then we're going to add our alcohol, and if I need to add more mica powder, I totally can. I don't think I want it all the way full. Again, it's Sweat of a Ghost. How much can he really sweat? Then I'm going to dry the neck of my bottle. And add my cork. Now, as you can see, the cork goes in there quite a ways. I'm actually going to trim it. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to kind of figure out where I think I want to chop it, and I'm going to spin my cork while I am pushing down. And then we can shorten our cork. Now I'm actually going to save this one because I might be able to use it for a different bottle down the line. So now I'm going to cork this up, and as you can see, that's a much better size for this bottle. And we're going to give it a good shake so we can see our ghost sweat. I think that's perfect. So when this settles, it will be clear, and when we shake it, we'll get our ghosty sweat swirls. I do want to cure this with our UV glue. And I know I have shown a couple different types. I love the JB Weld one. It is my favorite. However, the one on Amazon works out great as well. So I'll put a link to both in the description. But basically, I'm just going to go around the outside edge here. And then we're going to cure it. And what I love about the UV glue is it dries pretty much as close to instantly as you can get. Because I love an E6000 waterproof glue, but you basically have to let that sit overnight. Which for some potions may be the way to go, but for these little guys and for most potions, the UV glue works great. So now we can finish embellishing our bottle. So I'm going to first wrap the neck with some of this light blue cording. And for these little bottles, I like to use a cording that has a smaller size to it. I feel like it just, it goes easier. Otherwise, you only get like 1 or 2 wraps with a regular thicker cording. So this being a littler neck of a bottle, the littler cording works nicely because you can get a good 4 or 5 wraps or better. All right, perfect. And now we are going to add some of this pearly white sealing wax hot glue to the top of our bottle. And you'll notice I didn't put my label on yet, and that was intentional. I didn't want the drips to go crazy and drip on the label, so then that way if I need to, I can shorten some of the drips or remove a drip if I need to, so then that way the label's not obstructed. And then I got this really cute little ghost wax seal stamp, and I'm going to stick that. All right, we got our cute little ghosty. And now I'm going to fix some of these. So if you ever have where it drips crazy, like I put my finger in this one because it drips so low, you can actually pull them up a little bit, trim them with your scissors or an X-Acto knife, anything like that. I always try to do it at varying heights so that it looks more natural. And a couple long ones are fine if they're not in the front. And then I take a lighter, or your heat gun, but the heat gun's going to make everything heat up, and we're really just wanting those couple little strands. So I just take my little lighter and hit them quickly, and it's going to get rid of that harsh edge from the scissors and make it look like it just dripped on there. And then we have our little ghost wax seal stamp on our bottle with just a little bit of the blue cording peeking out, but I like that so it's not just like naked under there. And then I'm going to peel the backing paper off of our sticker. And we're going to stick it on. Now, I feel like this one's going to be in the way, so I'm going to cut him back and I'll hit him once the label's on. But I want to make sure this is straight. And I think that looks good. Perfect. And let me fix the one we cut. And with that, we have our Sweat of a Ghost. The next one was spider legs, and they used these pipe cleaners. One of my patrons, Lauren, suggested I make this acromantula leg hair or legs. And I love that idea, and I'm actually going to make it a full-blown, bigger video down the line, so look for that. I don't know whether I'll use pipe cleaners or some wire, or if I'll use some little other legs, but we are definitely going to do that because I love that idea, and it could be a companion piece to some of our other acromantula videos, like acromantula eggs, acromantula venom, all that. So I'm going to pull these out, and I'm definitely going to save these because, again, I might use these later. But this one, because we did a spider legs last year, or the year before, I'm not sure, we are going to do vampire fangs. So again, fang of a vampire is another ingredient in the witch's brew, so I felt like it was important. So we did a vampire fangs last year, actually, with the Target potion bottles, but I felt like we'll just do it again because this one, it's for a different theme. So just like in the last one, we used this black reindeer moss, or kind of a gray reindeer moss, which you can get at Michael's, especially right now during Halloween time, because they have a whole bunch of different colors and things that they'll release. So we're going to put that in here, and I'm not going to overfill it yet because we're then going to use some of our vampire fangs. So I purchased these from Amazon last year. You got a whole bunch of them, and I'll try to put a link to them in the description down below. And the reason I'm not just filling the jar with the teeth is because they're made to actually go on our teeth. So they have this like open V-back on them. So I felt like it would look weird if it was just a jar of teeth. So when we put them in here with the moss, you see that they're teeth, but you don't see the back. So we're going to put a few of these in. And then we're going to do a couple different sizes because these came in varying vampire sizes. Like that one was 11 millimeters. This one is 17 millimeters. And they all have different lengths to their pointiness. And see, I just kind of like that you see our teeth hanging out in the moss. Okay, and I think that's probably enough vampire teeth. So we're going to cork this up. Let me get rid of the extra little plastic bags and put away the teeth we didn't use. And for this one, I'm going to use a little bit fatter cording. It's pretty much going to do 2 wraps, and that'll be it. Because we're going to cover it with the red drips to look like blood anyway. And I have this really cute bat wax seal we're going to use on the top. So let's see if this is hot enough. Give it a couple more minutes. All right, let's see if this is hot enough now. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Add our little bat guy. And I'm going to add our label. All right, and then we have our little vampire fangs. All right, the next one is werewolf fur, which I made hair of a werewolf. And again, this is another ingredient in the witch's brew. And I even made a little werewolf hairdresser with his flaming hairdryer, like in the movie. So we're not going to change anything with the filling on this. I'm just going to add some cording, and then we're going to do a wax seal on him. And I thought I would stamp it with a moon since he's a werewolf. And we have hair of a werewolf. All right, this next one was petite pumpkins, but we are going to make it frog phlegm. So in the 4th Halloweentown movie that unfortunately Kimberly J. Brown was not in, they actually talk about some of Grandma Aggie's more gnarly potion ingredients, and one of them was frog phlegm, and the other one was snake spit. So I felt like they'd be good to add into this as well. So I'm going to dump out the petite pumpkins. And for our frog phlegm, we're actually going to just use some green dish soap. Because I felt like it kind of looks phlegmy. And again, I don't think I want to fill it all the way up. And again, we're going to trim this cork as well. All right, so I've got my trimmed cork here. And we're going to push that in. Now, I found these little tiny frogs in the like dollhouse model section of Michael's, and I thought they would be so cute to put one up here on top of our bottle. So I'm going to add our cording. And originally I thought I might do a sealing wax on here, but I actually think I'm just going to use our UV glue to glue our little frog to the top and just leave it super simple. So let me add my label. And I'm just going to put a drop of the glue on here. And that is what I love about UV glue, is that it cures so darn fast. And with that, we have our frog phlegm. All right, this one was originally snake venom. And again, we're going to make this one snake spit. So again, that's one of the ingredients that Ethan collected for Grandma Aggie. So I thought it'd be good to include. Right. I got rid of the green little gemstones that were in there. And for this one, I thought we'd go with, since snake spit could kind of be like a venom, I feel like most venoms are kind of milky or clearish. So I thought corn syrup would be good because, again, it's thick, kind of like that, and it'll still be able to move slightly. And over time, it may even yellow a little bit, which is totally fine. I feel like it just adds to the whole vibe of snake spit. going to cork this up. And then for this one, I want to do some creepy cloth on the top. I may even fold this in half. I just cut like a small square, because creepy cloth is able to kind of transform and move and stretch because it's all these little threads. And I'm going to take my green cording, and we're going to wrap this over the creepy cloth. Pull down on the creepy cloth to make sure it's good and tight. And then we're going to trim the bottom of this. All right, and I think that looks pretty good. So now we're just going to add our label. And then we have our snake spit. All right, the last of this 7 little clear bottles is going to be bone dust. And I put a little picture of Benny on here, so I felt like this would be good. Now, what irritates me about their bone dust is that they very clearly used fake snow, which does not look like bone dust to me. So we're going to empty that out. And we are going to use white sand. You could also use baby powder. We have used baby powder in the past for bone dust, but the white sand should give us the consistency I think we're going for here. I'm going to try to carefully pour this in so it doesn't go everywhere. Although it may have other ideas. Okay, well, got most of it in the lid here. We'll put that back in. And I'm going to bring out my little handy dandy vacuum I had to purchase because I feel like I get a lot of little things on this table. And we're going to cork this back up. So what's nice is then as we shake this up, it kind of coats the inside of the glass a little bit, which I like. The baby powder does that even more, which is another good option. But I felt like this would be better as bone dust. So we're going to wrap the edge with this yellow cording that matches the label. All right, perfect. We have our wrap on here. And I am going to use the same white sealing wax I used on the ghost one. And I kind of just want to hit the top. I'm not so concerned with it dripping down so much. I just want to add this little bony hands wax seal stamp I have to the top. All right, and that gives us our bony hands with our little drips. And then I'm going to take my label printed on sticker paper, and we're going to place that here. And then we have our bone dust. For all 7 of our clear little bottles transformed. All right, now we have our 5 larger square bottled ones with the rubber corks. So we're going to transform these to match our Halloweentown theme. The first one we're going to transform is Ghost Orbs. So I love that this one has this yellowy red iridescence, and you can still see through it. Some of them you can't. And I thought I would make this one ghost orbs. So I felt like, why couldn't you trap the little orbs of a ghost? And I did it in a way that I could cut out the little circles so we'd actually see that iridescence through it. So for the orbs, you could use beads or anything like that, but I am going to use some leftover water beads from making our eel eggs. I'm only going to use the white ones because I feel like you will see them the easiest through it. So I'm just going to load up my jar with some of the white ones here. Okay, and I think that's good. I don't need it to be completely full. I want them to be able to move around in there. And then this is already distilled water with just a tiny bit of glycerin in here, so I'm just going to add some of our liquid in here. All right, so I have got this fairly full. Now I'm going to add my little ghosty up here, and I love it they listened when we asked for rubber cork and gave us an amazing rubber cork. And now I'm going to use my UV glue just to seal it in. All right, we are all sealed, so I'm going to test it. No leaks, perfect, but as you can see, when we shake that up, the little orbs move around in there, and I love that. So now we just need to add our label. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of our cording. All right, and I think that gives us our ghost orbs. And I love how you can see the iridescence through the label. This one with the jack-o'-lantern top, I decided to do Essence of Halloweentown, since they have the jack-o'-lantern in the main square. So we're going to take the backing paper off of this one. Now, you cannot see through this one, so there's no point in us putting anything inside of it because you're not going to see it anyway. All right, so we're going to add our label on here. All right, so we're going to rub that in. Now, I got this really cool Flying Witch wax stamp, so I thought this kind of looked like Marnie, and her outfit is purple, so I thought I would do a little wax seal in her signature purple, and I think we're going to glue it on down here, so that way it doesn't cover up the little jack-o'-lantern or the name, but it just kind of adds a little detail to this. So I'm going to put a little of the UV glue there. And I'm going to position our wax seal stamp. All right, perfect. So we've got our little Marnie stamp on there. And then I'm going to use a purple cording up here just to kind of tie in the stamp. All right. And then we have our Essence of Halloweentown. This next one, we are going to make Benny's Bones. So I actually have some leftover bones from the Target potion bottles of the past. So that is going to be what we put in here. So I'm literally just going to fill it up with our little bones. And these are the ones that I aged up because I didn't like that they were just a crisp white. And I actually think that's going to work in our favor here, so it'll help you see them better. And then we're going to cap that up. And this way, they can kind of rattle around in there. I'm going to wrap the top of this with some gray. All right, we've got our cording here, and now I'm going to add our label. I think that looks pretty good. And there we have Benny's Bones. This next one is going to be Witch's Brew, and I actually used the same illustration I drew years ago for the instant Witch's Brew that Aggie used, and I thought it'd be cute to repurpose it on here, and I loved that it kind of coordinated with the little witch hat with the orange. So we're going to do a little bit of orange drips at the base here as well, but before we do our drips, we're going to add some black cording on here. And because this one is jute, I'm going to use my lighter to get rid of the little wispies. It'll make it a little bit better when our drips try to go down. Perfect. Okay, and I think those drips look pretty good. I'm going to put our top on while they're still a little damp. Yeah, I think that works well. And now we're going to add our label. Now you can kind of, and I do mean kind of, see through this bottle, but not a ton. So I didn't feel like it was worth it to put anything in there because you're really not going to see it. All right, and then we have our Witch's Brew. Our Square Iridescent bottles, we are going to do Grandma Aggie's Crystal Ball. So in the second Halloweentown, when we go into Grandma Aggie's bedroom, she has this big crystal ball that she looks into and sees Halloweentown and whatever else she wants to see. So I thought we would play that up with this one having the really cute crystal ball top on it. So this one you can definitely see through. So we are going to do a color changing potion in here. So I'm going to fill this up with the alcohol. And then I'm going to add some of this plum chameleon mica powder. We've used this before on other potions, but this should give us a really pretty dark pink fuchsia color when we shake this up. And I think that'll be good. I'm going to dry the neck of this and then stick our crystal ball in here, and then I'm definitely going to lock it in with our UV glue. And we're going to shake that up, and we can see those beautiful swirls through the iridescence. And now with our label on, we get to see that iridescence as well as the color change through the label for Grandma Aggie's Crystal Ball. And there we have our 5 square iridescent bottles transformed. And there we have it, our Target Bullseye Playground mini potion bottles rethemed to Halloweentown. These will be a great addition to our potion and prop collection we're making along the way. So if you like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.